Okay, so we've all been there. We finally get downtime, or it's time to just chill, and we can't because we feel this crushing pressure to get up and do something. So, are you a person that glorifies busy? Are you having a hard time decompressing and having some downtime? Well, then this is the video for you. So, what is the number one reason you think that we have a hard time just being still and chilling and you know just decompressing? I mean, even if we were just to, I'll just use some examples. I used to travel with a group of people a lot, and they wanted to have our vacation time, so we'd have a, you know 4 or 5 day vacation, and you get like 2 of these a year. This is not my life anymore, by the way, but this was my life and with many others. And then they would get these 4 day slots, and they would be like, okay, we're going here, and then at 9 a.m. we're doing this, and 10 a.m. we're doing this, and I'm like, what the heck? I just want to go there and be chill. And I realized that the group of people I was traveling with, they were incapable of it. And then I started to realize, like, there's areas of my life where I'm incapable of just chilling too. I feel like, this compulsion that I have to get up, and it's usually when I try to sit in my messy house and like, oh, I can't do this. But, there's nothing wrong with any of that. But when it gets to the detriment of us glorifying busy, or we have a narrative that if we are productive, that we're successful, then it's at the detriment of our own mental, emotional, and physical health, because we have to have a balance. People talk about work-life balance. That's really what they're trying to say is action stillness balance, because there's some people that even when they're in their main life, they're still working really hard. And so let's just talk about the ways that we can get out of this. And the main reason we can't is that overwhelming, crushing pressure that we need to be doing something. We have been indoctrinated with we have to be productive. So let's get to uncovering that in us and getting into the balance. Okay, so I just want to go through some of the cultural narratives that we've been sold and what is stopping us from being able to just have our downtime. And, when we start to uncover these beliefs in us, what we're really trying to uncover is the energy. Because if you're sitting there, the uncomfortable feeling you're getting is what we want to alchemize or neutralize. Because then, remember, our emotional states tend to have us, compulsively do something. And so if we don't neutralize the state, then we will be in this loop of the compulsion, which for us would be, when we're having downtime, there's a belief. And then the trigger will feel like guilt or shame because we're not being productive. So then we are compulsed to be productive. And so this is just one of the programs, patterns, cultural indoctrinations that I think is not serving us any longer. And so that's why I want to address it on this video, because it's also the bigger way that I talk about in all my videos of kind of getting out of our hamster wheel patterns and programs that are no longer serving us, so that we can move up into expansion, which would be, stillness is super important when it comes to creating a life you want. It is a super important part of becoming wise. It's the only way to get in tune with your soul. So you can see why this video would be important, because if you're glorifying busy, or your narrative in your mind is that productivity is more important than stillness, then you're going to have a very tough time moving into the new age. And I think that I can speak from experience that it was hard for me, and I coach hundreds of people a month, and it's hard for a lot of them. And so the number one thing I would like everybody to tune into when you have downtime is to recognize the reason you can't stay there is the feeling of guilt or shame. Because if you can deep dive into the feeling and say, oh, this feeling triggers the compulsion to move and act and do, then it would be only logical that you don't try to fight the outer action, the compulsory thing that you do. It would make more sense just to neutralize the feeling, which means process it, sit through it over and over again until the compulsion goes away. And this is for anything. This is just the rudimentary habits, patterns, subconscious programming that we are all going to get to undoing. And so I think that, as I said, it's important to get in tune with our soul. It's important to get our own emotional guidance system back online. It's important to understand our state of being. And all of that is related to feelings and emotions and stillness. So the narrative that we glorified busy is just our collective way of avoiding the inner world. So let's just start there. I think this is one of the most important, crucial steps, because not only is glorified busy stopping us from stillness and getting in line with our soul, but it's also triggered and instigated from the feelings of guilt and shame, which are the lowest on the consciousness scale. So in the starting of this video, or even just reading the title, you can be like, oh, that would be a cool thing to kind of get over. But no, this is a crucial thing to get over, because it is really stopping our inward journey. And so I do want to make a video also on this channel that talks about fighting for our injustices or fighting for our own self-sabotage, because this would fall in line with that. If you can't understand how important it is to get rid of the narratives that being productive is success or busy means you're amazing, you got to work on that, because it is kind of the whole reason that your internal world is not emotionally aware and in tune. And so we got to work on that. Okay, so let's just go to how can we start to work on that? What are we going to do? Let's get some real life examples here. Okay, so there's no better way than to just do it. So set aside downtime where you actually confront yourself that you're not going to do anything. You're not going to be have a compulsion to I'm sitting on the couch and I see a little mess over there in the corner and I'm going to clean it. Nothing. Because we're using this as the opportunity to feel what this brings up in us. And you have to feel it and learn to process it. It's the alchemy of neutralizing the emotional patterns that make you do things or make you think things, or, because our emotions are really the thing that instigates all of it. And so, the number one thing you don't want to do is recognize, oh, but this, oh, but that. You have to set aside the time and just stay with it and decompress from these compulsions to act and move. And it's super uncomfortable. You say that to me, you're preaching to the choir, because I've been through it and I've helped others through it and I know how it feels. And so let's just get to the rudimentary problem. We don't like the way it feels. Has nothing to really do now with this stage in our evolution with the narrative that we have to be productive all the time to be successful, because the people that work hardest tend to have the least amount of money and abundance and happiness, period. People that are working in factories or shit jobs, working longer and harder than all of us, and they're not making very much money and they're not very happy. They're bitter. So we need to toss that in the trash, and I think many of us have. And so this is what this video is for. Why do we still do it? Why can't we go on vacation and sit on the beach the whole time and decompress and get the sun? So you just got to feel that feeling and process it out, because under it is a belief or something about ourselves, and busy most of the time is just covering that I'm not good enough or I have to do better beliefs about ourselves. So you just got to sit with that feeling and sit it through until it passes over and over again, until you start hearing the thoughts and you're able to shift the narrative, and you just got to really contend with a new belief system, a new identity, a new everything. But the core of it is sit there for 4 nights a week after work, you're going to come home and you're going to make dinner and you're just going to sit all the way till bed and then contend with the emotions. Let things fall apart, is because if you don't get the inner right, this is just going to continue on a hamster wheel. Look at the way our energy body gets triggered, and then it causes us to do things, think things, and say things. And so this alchemy is super important at this stage in the game. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to set aside time, like I said, and we're going to get to the emotion and we're going to process it. We're going to sit through it until we get to the other side of it, because then you understand the art of alchemy. And that's the most important thing. We need to learn to neutralize these lower frequencies inside of our state of being, which lowest is guilt, shame. Then we move up to like grief, anger, apathy. You know, I'll try to put the chart here, and I do that in several of my videos. But guilt and shame is definitely what keeps us on this hamster wheel with glorifying busy and being overly productive. It's to cover some deep-seated stuff going on. And so we want to start doing that in a slow way. Okay. So then once you start to do that, then I would like you to start talking to others, because teaching is learning. So then you start to explain to others about your downtime and your needs for downtime and how you're working on that. And then before you know it, as you're teaching others, you start to get the example in yourself unconsciously. And before you know it, you've mastered the art of alchemy and you're well on your way. So I hope this makes sense, because I really want everybody to start working on this one. It is super crucial because it is holding one of the lower, densest vibrations in our energy body that we need to release to get some of our power back in all the ways that I said. So I hope this helps. And if you liked it, please like, share, subscribe. And until next time, take care.